Good morning, this is Captain Drew Cavanaugh with Florida Inshore Fishing Charters and Mosquito Lagoon Site Fishing Charters located here in East Central Florida on the Mosquito Lagoon Indian River near Ponce Inlet, Fort Canaveral, Disney, Orlando, Titusville, Cocoa Beach, and Daytona Beach. And today what we're going to do is I'm going to go over a real quick video here on what CPR fishing is. And it's an acronym, it's an abbreviation. And basically there's a lot of guides over here, a lot of them, and a lot of residents, a lot of local anglers that they practice what we call CPR fishing, or also it stands for catch, photo, and release. And the reason why we do this in certain areas across the great United States here and around the world is there's certain species out there that are sought after more from a sport fishing aspect of it versus from a food aspect, a meat, idea to whether to keep and kill it. That's the nice thing about fishing versus hunting is you can go out there and catch something, hold it up, get a nice picture of your memory, feel the energy of catching it, getting it to the boat, and then also feel the pride and the great feeling that you get to release that fish back into the wild to hopefully be caught again one other day, and on top of that to sustain the species. Now with that said, this entire area over here, the Mosquito Lagoon and North Indian River and pretty much this entire region is pretty much a catch and release area. It's practiced by almost every guide and colleague I know. Yeah, there's a few of them that don't. There's a few that are still set in their old ways. But unfortunately, you're shooting yourself in the foot. You're putting yourself out of business. You're killing the industry. Because I've always said, why kill and destroy what pays your bills? What helps you out, what sustains life, what makes things better. I love to eat fish. I love it. I like my fish tacos. I like grilled fish. I like all kinds of stuff, but I don't like to eat fish that pay my bills, especially these sport fish. And on top of that, I personally, food is like music. Each to their own. Everybody's got their own taste. You like rap, I like rock, I like Beethoven, you like Ozzy, so on and so forth, right there. So you can't compare food. I personally think that redfish, they're okay, trout's okay, black drum's okay. Nobody eats tarpon, nobody eats bonefish. And a lot of times saltwater guides, we get into it with people that call and they say, hey Captain, I'd like to come down there. We're scheduled to go bass fishing on Tuesday. We want to go flats fishing with you on Wednesday, and we want to see if we can bring some fillets home. And I'm like, well, then ask the bass guy to do that. And right off the bat, for some reason, bass has this stigma that they're all catch and release. That everybody's, oh, no, it's a bad thing to keep bass. And I'm like, well, ask your bass guy to keep them. And they're like, well, nobody keeps bass. I'm like, well, nobody I know keeps redfish. This is a wildlife refuge. It's a national park. This is a great fishery. The one thing that I hear a lot is, Captain, I'm just keeping my share. I'm just keeping my share. Does it really hurt? And I've always said that math rules the universe. No, it doesn't hurt your share. It does not hurt the world if you're just keeping your share. Unfortunately, you have 60,000 others in the area that are keeping their share, and it adds up. So like back to the bass thing, when people say, well, nobody keeps bass, let me tell you something. I lived in Central Florida my whole life, and I have many friends that would go out and easily keep legal-sized bass day in and day out, and they are pretty good to eat. Does that mean you should? No. Just because the law says you can does not mean you always should. Doesn't make it right. So with that said, this entire area here, and everybody I associate with and work with, we all practice catch and release on our charters. We promote it, and it benefits everybody. I always ask people, would you rather come out here and catch 5 nice fish and take them home and clean them, and then the next 20 times you come don't catch anything? Or would you rather every time catch a few fish and continue that? There's certain fisheries in the world that can sustain keeping a few here and there. And I'm not going to get into the details like the offshore, the red snapper stuff, because I don't do offshore that far for whether snapper. But I'll tell you what, from what I hear from the public, I just get the view that the commercial should be closed and recreational should be open, because I'm hearing that everybody and their brothers catch them, release them. When they're releasing them, half of them are dying. So I don't know what to say about that, because that's not where I specialize in and all that. I specialize in black drum, spotted sea trout, and redfish, and on the Mosquito Lagoon, at times snook, and our migratory tarpon that come in here. And we like to practice catch and release because it is better for everybody in the end. I'm just seeing too many fish. The area's growing. We're starting to deplete the resources, and it's just best to practice catch and release for everybody. It's just a good thing. I think it's an overall great thing. So please try to handle your fish well. There's a video right here that you can go to on fish handling. Be very careful on when you get the fish out of the water. Make it in your mind, if you always do this, set your priorities to where the first thing that you want to focus on is the release of the fish and the survival rate of the fish. It'll help out, and get them back in the water as fast as you can. Yeah, everybody wants a photograph. And you know, on that note, I also have a lot of people that have said to me, some of the residents where I live, that keep fish constantly. And I've watched some people keep fish. It makes me sick to my stomach when I see people keep fish. They're old school. They got to go around with a cooler and show everybody. Then all of a sudden they're like, well, I don't want all these fish. And I've witnessed it. They go and throw them away. It makes me sick to my stomach. We've all seen that in the area. Unfortunately, that happens a lot of places in this great country. And I don't think you're going to stop it. The ideology of it is just a shame. But these people will say to me, Captain, when you're catching that fish and you release it, it's got a bad survival rate too. It's going to die anyhow. And I'll tell you what, I'll take you 1,000% on a bet, any bet you want, that my fish that I catch, photograph, release, has a better chance of survival than your fish that you catch, ice, and fillet. Anytime you want to make that bet, let's do it. Now with that said, as far as keeping fish, inside the Merritt Island National Wildlife Refuge, the Canaveral National Seashore, the Mosquito Lagoon, the backcountry waters where we're targeting, you know, black drum, spotted sea trout, snook, tarpon. If we had bonefish, there's certain species that are catch and release. There's also certain species that if I'm on a near coastal trip, I have no problem controlling the environment that I keep them in. Meaning, just because the law says you're going to keep 50 of them doesn't mean I'm going to let you. I'll let you keep certain species, maybe a cobia, kingfish, snapper are legal, this kind of stuff. But the species I will never allow any clients to keep are trout, redfish, black drum, and snook, and of course tarpon. I don't know who keeps a tarpon, even if you want a mount of that thing. We live in a day and age to where with any species, the best thing to do is, it goes back to CPR, catch, photograph, release, photograph. You can now turn that photograph into certain agencies and taxidermists, and they can make mounts that to where you cannot tell the difference between that mount and a real mount. So with that said, I want everybody to have a great day, and it's the 4th of July weekend, 2016. Everybody be safe out there. And have a great summer. Go catch fish. And if you're looking to book a charter with me, give me a call. And I'll see you on the water. Captain Drew Cavanaugh, Florida Inshore Fishing Charters. Thank you.